Hi, Derald Slack with Honest Public Adjusting here, answering your questions about insurance claims in the state of Florida. Today's question is, why should I hire a public adjuster before I call my insurance company? Why shouldn't I give the insurance company the chance to do the right thing? This is a really good question. This is probably my favorite question so far because I feel like it's a question that gets asked, but just doesn't get asked to me. It's an objection that that certainly can identify with. I think that the first instinct, and I'm glad somebody asked it. If you wait for the insurance company to do the right thing, you're going to be waiting a while. The idea here is that you're going to end up with an underpaid roof, an underpaid claim, or a denial, or they're going to pay this part but deny that part, something like that. So, a quick about me. My name is Derald Slack. I am a public adjuster with Honest Public Adjusting. We help insurers with all types of claims, be it hurricane, water, mold, fire, whatever you've got. If your home is damaged generally, and it's, we can help you. We can help you recover within the bounds of your policy. And so we'll talk about a few different things here. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why waiting on the insurance company can cost you tens of thousands of dollars in the long run. So first, we're going to kind of go back to the beginning. There are three types of adjusters that will be involved in your claim, could be involved in your claim. There is the company adjuster who works, for the insurance company. They're a direct employee. Usually that's going to be your desk adjuster, the person that calls you, emails you, but doesn't necessarily come to your house. Secondly, we have the independent adjuster. They usually work for a third-party company. Generally speaking, this is going to be your field adjuster, the person that comes to your house and actually takes the photos, takes the measurements and things like that. And then you have the public adjuster. I am a public adjuster. The key distinction between a public adjuster and the other two are the company adjuster 100% works for the insurance company. The independent adjuster is independent by definition. However, they are beholden to the insurance company. That's who hired them. That's going to hire them for the next claim, next claim, next claim. If they upset you during your claim, there's really no consequence to them. If they upset the insurance company, then there's a good chance they're not going to get work from that firm anymore. And so they're going to be beholden to them. I am unabashedly, unapologetically on your side. You have the insurance company has adjusters on their side. It's only fair that you have one on your side as well. So it's important that we do that right away so that you know that you have someone on your side that's going to look at everything, document all the damage, and make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And which leads me to my first reason, which is probably the number one real concrete reason, that is evidence disappears quickly. When it comes to something like a water loss or a fire loss, baseboards are getting popped, drywall's getting cut out, cabinets are getting torn out, carpets getting sliced and rolled up with the pad and thrown, put out by the curb. Personal property is getting thrown out. Dressers are wet. Clothes are wet. It's gross. It's mold. And you've got, a lot of moving parts. You're getting rid of stuff. Your MIT company's getting rid of stuff. The next thing you know, the insurance company turns around and says, well, why was the carpet torn out? Why was the dresser, disposed of? And if you didn't have someone there on your side taking really good photographs of everything before the demo or during the demo, worst case during the demo, then you're probably not going to have all the evidence you need. When it comes to especially personal property that gets damaged by the water, it's not just the dwelling, it's the personal property, the dressers, the couches, the nightstands, things like that. So I'm going to take a picture of the baseboard. I'm going to lay that baseboard on its other side. I'm going to take a picture of the mold on the back side. I'm going to make sure I get a picture of, put a moisture meter up on that wall so it's unequivocal. Like, you can't look at a wall and tell that it's wet. But I can put my moisture meter on there and take a picture. Bam, now I know I proved that wall is wet. That's why it had to come out. I'm there documenting everything right away to make sure we're preserving as much evidence as possible. When it comes to a dresser, if you've already filed your claim and I'm coming in later, all is not lost. I can certainly go through, pictures that you have, social media posts, family photos, things like that, and look for stuff in the background to identify what it is. But in terms of proving it's damaged and how much it's worth, I'll take a dresser, for example, just a regular old dresser that got damaged by water. I'm going to take a picture of the dresser from the front, and then I'm going to put a tape measure on it and how long it is, how thick, how deep it is, and how wide it is. And then I'm going to open the drawers. I'm going to look for manufacturer labels or marks on the inside of the drawers for dovetails, things to make it, to prove it's a high quality or who made it, And then I'm going to get pictures of the damage, of the water wicking coming up the back or the bottoms of it swelling up, and all of that inside the dwelling if possible. And then we can throw it out. But every single personal property, every piece of personal property is going to have like between 5 and 10 pictures taken of it to make sure we can prove later, because otherwise what will happen is the MIT guys, they come in there, they throw everything out, they do their job, they mitigate the loss, they tear out the drywall, they cut up the carpet, and then the desk adjuster comes back and says, well, the carpet was gone before the field adjuster got there, and I'm the desk adjuster, how do I know it was wet? How do I know it was stained? How do I know there was mold on that? And a lot of times, if you're handling this yourself, the answer is, trust me, bro. Like, insurance companies don't operate like that. If you get your public adjuster in there first, we're going to be there taking pictures. With the MIT guys, I've done mold remediation. I've done emergency services. I have no problem getting my feet or my hands dirty to be in there and make sure everything's taken care of and everything's documented, and that we're able to fully negotiate and justify everything that's in our estimate. Early mistakes kill claims. Mistakes that are made in the first couple of days have long-winded, long-lasting effects on your claim. You're talking a month down the road, 2-3 months down the road. Now we're in appraisal, and the same thing. The appraiser's going, wow, why was this carpet torn out? I don't know, man. I don't have any pictures of it. Well, then it's not getting included. And that's just the hard reality of it. You need someone there that's on your side from the beginning to make sure they're documenting everything. It's not just, this job isn't just negotiating and arguing. This job is a lot of documentation, estimating, building claims, building cases, and having everything ready so that when I do go into that negotiation, I'm well prepared to just, I can argue all I want. I can quote policy all I want, and I'm really good at it. But if I don't have the evidence, then I'm kind of, handicapping myself, or I'm not as well equipped when I'm coming in. Like, well, here's a photo of their house, Christmas 2010. You can see that TV in the background. Trust me, that's a Samsung, not a Toshiba. Like, no, if that TV's damaged, I'm going to get a picture of it, picture with a tape measure, picture of the label, picture of me trying to turn it on. Like, we're really going to document very well what happened here. So, preparation is key. Next, the first offer is not a favor. They're not doing you a favor by giving you that first offer. There is a misconception that claims take longer when a public adjuster is involved. And I can explain that in so much as this. If you file a claim, they send out their adjuster, the adjuster sends you a check, and you accept it and say, yeah, that was great. Well, yes, that was very fast. It was done in 4 weeks, and everybody, was very fast. But you left a lot of money on the table. The same scenario with me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to document. I'm going to negotiate. You're going to get that check in just about the same amount of time, but that's what we call the undisputed amount. If the insurance company says the claim's worth $12,000, I say the claim's worth $40,000. We both agree that it's worth at least $12,000. So they're going to pay that $12,000 up front, just the same as they would have on a regular. And then we begin the negotiation to try to figure out what a fair settlement is. Now, yes, that takes a little longer, but you still got that $12,000 in roughly the same amount of time, or frequently faster with a public adjuster involved, because we go into a different category in their systems called represented claims, where they kind of get a little more attention. They know everything that happens on a claim, whether it's the filing, the inspection, a letter being sent out, whatever it is. Everything that happens starts a clock, and there's a bunch of clocks running all the time, and people don't know about that. The general public doesn't know about that, and that's fine. You're not supposed to. You have a whole lot of other things to worry about. They know we know about the clocks, and they know we're watching the clocks. We're calendaring them to make sure that they're following through with their deadlines, or we start prompting them very quickly, hey, you're running over on this thing. So we're going to get your claim. We're going to make the steps happen faster. It's just that there's more steps with a public adjuster. So that first offer is not is not a favor. It's not coming faster because we're not involved. It's just frequently going to be the lowball offer. And if you accept the lowball offer, then yes, you are a very fast negotiator. But nobody brags about being a fast negotiator. We're good negotiators. And so you get that offer, you sign that release, and bam, you're done. And that's it. We tend to have a pretty impressive from first offer to settlement offer increase. So we have some examples we can show on that if need to be. So hiring early does save you money, and we're contingency based. If we don't get paid, my apologies. If you don't get paid, we don't get paid. And that's one of our best approaches, our best tools to say, hey, if I don't think I can help you with your claim, I'm going to tell you up front, because it doesn't behoove me to, drag you along because I'm going to get some weird payout if the claim gets denied, or if the claim gets underpaid and I can't effectively negotiate it, I'm not getting anything. So it doesn't behoove me to make everything. I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible within the bounds of the policy with a fair settlement to you. So a lot of times I'm trying to fix a mess that was created either by a carrier adjuster who didn't do a good job, or by an insured who made some sort of concession or admission or said something in the wrong way. The hurricane was here and the water flooded my house. What you meant is the hurricane was here, the water came through a window that broke and flooded my house. But you said flooded, and now you've triggered a red flag that's going to cause a bunch of delays. That through no fault of your own. That's a term that generally we use, but it's an industry term that can cause a big problem for you. So some of the objections, I already filed my claim. Can I hire a public adjuster? Absolutely. Whether it's before you're at any point in the process, as long as you haven't signed a release, generally you can hire a PA. Even after the release, if you sign a release, we send our letter of representation in, the first words out of their mouth are going to be, hey, they signed a release. This is a waste of time. So at any point, if you want to know if if you should hire a public adjuster, I already filed my claim. I'm not sure where I am in the process. Can I hire a public adjuster now? Give me a call, 239-898-4333. And I will, we do free claim reviews. We're happy to look at your claim and say, hey, this actually looks pretty good. You were indemnified fairly, or here's where we left some meat on the bone. Let's get you signed and we'll start negotiating this. Another one is, I don't want to make my insurance company mad. I like my agent. I like this person. I like that person. Your insurance company is not an entity. They're not mad. They're not, they're not a being. It's just a company. It's a business transaction. It's two sides of a contract. Making the insurance company mad, generally speaking, no. I get along. There are some public adjusters that give public adjusters a bad name. The joke is 95% of PAs give the good 5% a bad name, and it's it's a funny joke. I've had that said to me a few times. I'm not a bulldog. I'm not a jerk. I'm not out here to make enemies. I offer tactical empathy and I negotiate fairly. So I'm going to get you what you deserve and what you're entitled to. I'm not going to be mean about it until it becomes time to be mean. So I don't think we're going to make anybody mad. That's not our goal. We really want to try to do things nicely whenever we can. Will my premium go up because I hired a public adjuster? Absolutely not. I can't speak to underwriting. I'm not an underwriter. I'm not licensed to discuss underwriting. So if you have underwriting questions, please feel free to find someone who is licensed in it. But generally speaking, based on my time on the carrier side, when we're looking at, it's called an ISO search, insurance service something organization, an ISO search, all it says is, who filed the claim, were they the claimant, what kind of claim it was, and how much money. We don't really get in the information as to, was there a PA involved? How much time did it take to negotiate it? Anything like that. Let's see. I think that's about it. And then finally is just who you're beholden to really matters. If you follow, just like anything else, follow the money. Your adjuster is beholden to their claims supervisor. Claims supervisor is is beholden to the, claims VP, whoever runs the claims department in the insurance company. And that VP is beholden either to a president or directly to the shareholders. So that's where the responsibility ends. That's who makes the decisions. That's who makes the calls, is where the money stops. So if you try to ask yourself, who is that adjuster really beholden to? It's not you. It's the shareholders of the company. It's the investors. When it comes to honest public adjusting, I'm beholden to you. It's just you and me. There is no board. There are no shareholders. I'm beholden to you and making sure that you get indemnified fairly. There's a top 10 list of things you should do when you file a claim. Number 1, call me and let me take a look at your claim. Numbers 2 through 10, let me take care of it. Really just, we're an all-in concierge service. We try to manage every aspect of it. If you need a TARP, if you need mitigation, we know people in the industry, or we can work with your field or with your carrier adjuster to help facilitate that. But realistically, let us get in there. Let us take our pictures before before the carrier gets there or with the carrier there, and we can file we can file the claim for you. I do that all the time. I file it and then I set up with the carrier the inspection, meet them there. I'm there for their inspection, and everything just goes better that way, as opposed to, and most of the time when a PA gets involved, they're going to want to send another adjuster anyway to do a reinspect with the public adjuster. So you've delayed yourself significantly by not having us right off the bat, because now there's been some downtime between when we filed the claim, the initial inspection, and now the PA is involved in a reinspection. So it saves you time. It can make sure you get more money faster. So make sure you give me a call so we can stop the damage from getting worse. We can make sure the insurance company sees everything they're supposed to see when they're there. So call us, Honest Public Adjusting, at 239-898-4333, and let us get there, right away to help take care of your claim.